Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Student Agencies podcast. Today we're joined by Marissa Alden, founder of Go Try It On, former GM of Growth and Innovation at Rent the Runway, 8 years CEO of Sawyer, and now general manager of the recreation business unit at DaySmart, overseeing Sawyer, Team Up, and Dash. Her journey spans from raising venture capital to exiting startups to building a product used by thousands of families and educators and leading companies through scale pivots in education. And it all traces back to intensity, ownership, and chaos as student agencies, where Marissa learned early that stepping into leadership before you feel ready is an entire point. So, Marissa, before we dive in, how does it feel to kind of revisit your student agency story after everything you've gone on to do and build?
Well, I just wanted to say yes, thank you for having me. And it's always so fun to reconnect with my Cornell days and then specifically the student agencies days, as it was very much a material part of my, I'd say, education at Cornell. So it's great to be back.
Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, you have been a prolific entrepreneur. Anyone who has exits qualifies in my mind as prolific. Anyone who raises VC is, in my mind, still on the prolific level. So few people understand that the stories that are reported on entrepreneurs are really just like the top 1 or 2% stories that are out there, and they don't see the 90+% of failed businesses that go into that pipeline. Maybe I think a place to start would be, what made you want to be an entrepreneur after Cornell?
Yeah. Honestly, my time at student agencies was a very formative reason why I thought might be interested in entrepreneurship. I got to experience, early days, what it was like to build a business. Definitely didn't really know what I was getting into. My first role at student agencies was with campus promotions. And back in 2005, that meant going door to door and selling ads for a dining guide that we had. And I went down at the bowling alley and the laser tag facility asking for money. And because that was like what was required of the job. And I didn't really even realize I was doing sales, and I was doing like SMB sales. And I just felt like getting to talk to customers, kind of owning my own book, if you will. I mean, I guess it really literally was a book, and getting that taste of what that type of responsibility was like was very infectious to me. And so got excited enough to, yeah, want to, I guess, pursue a career in business, and ended up thinking the best way to do that would be going right to business school after undergrad. They waived the application fee for undergrads. And so I thought, okay, that means like they're going to want me. And I found my way to HBS, and even there kind of was enamored with this idea that I could choose my own destiny by starting a company.
Amazing. So you pivoted immediately after HBS into your first startup, or what did that look like?
No, so at business school, I did get advice from my friends at the time that were like, "Wait, you're 22, you haven't worked." And I'd say, "Well, I had a startup in college," but they recommended I check out, going to work in like the corporate world and getting some experience under my belt. And so I did that. So I lasted about 18 months at a digital ad agency in New York City in 2000, yes, so eight, nine, right as the financial crisis was happening. And so, again, like got some experience, which was invaluable, even though it was painful at the time. But during 2009, 2010, because you had all these amazing smart people leaving Wall Street, you started to we started to experience what was like a tech renaissance in New York City. And so all these cool startups were popping up, Gilt Group, Foursquare, and it was like, what is happening? This is like where I'm meant to be. And I remember having a conversation with a friend out there at the time, and he was telling me about his company, and I was like, God, like I gotta get to this side. Like I gotta build a technology company.
Amazing. Love the story here. But what was the next step, right? So you were in digital ads, and then you're like, let me go raise money to found
Yeah.
Go Try It On.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, I think I have to like build something. Like I have to build a product because that's kind of what my vision was around, like a social app. Because remember, this was back in 2010 and everybody was like launching social apps. Twitter had just like got on the scene that had to do with fashion, which was like a passion of mine. So I was con obsessed with this idea that like all my girlfriends, whether if they were like the most stylish ones or the least stylish ones, would get dressed for the night, like to go out and then ask each other, do you like this? Does this look okay? And I just found that question to be so universal. And so I thought, but you'd ask like your friend or your sibling or someone you trusted. But then you'd be skeptical. You'd be like, are they telling me the truth? And so wouldn't it be interesting if you could leverage the crowd and get like real time, large numbers, the law of large numbers feedback on your outfit? And so that was kind of the concept for Go Try It On. So I ended up talking to a bunch of people to see if I could find a freelance developer because I knew I needed to partner with someone that balanced my skill set, which I was not a developer. And so ended up finding someone out of Boston, made many trips back, and I grew up there, so I made many trips home, spent some time working with a developer and then a designer, and we came up with like the first version of prototype of what Go Try It On was. And it's so dating the story, but it was you didn't even upload a photo via your camera, your phone, because like that's not how we did it. It was like with your digital camera, you'd like upload it to your device. So
Yeah, you had a little
that's
chip,
how it goes. Yeah.
and you
Uh-huh.
selected the photos to take off the chip, and then you put it in USB
100%.
drive, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was the process. Like iOS kind of just was launching App Store, which was amazing for us because as we were building the prototype, we were like, wait a minute, like maybe this isn't like you can upload just right from the phone. Let's do that. So again, lots of fun stories. But so we started building the prototype, and I got wind that there was like South by Southwest was where the best companies launched, and that's where Twitter had launched 3 years ago. And I was like, okay, we have to launch at South by. And so it's like, but how do I do that? And I found that there was a conference and like a pitch competition, and you could get featured as a young startup. And if you got featured, you got 2 tickets, you could come do the whole thing. So I had applied and we ended up getting accepted. And so we got to go to South by and pitch on stage, room of venture capitalists, press. I mean, it was awesome. And that was like launch day. So, night before type of thing, very much what you imagined. Me, developer, designer, on the couch in the guy's living room, like trying to get this thing live, faking all the data, the content and photos. My sister's like taking pictures of herself. And yeah, we got it done.
Sounds like a classic startup experience.
Yeah, it was.
So
And like,
how does that like how does that compare to the experiences you had running campus promotions and being at student agencies?
yeah, I mean, I think that the student agencies world and experience was like, it was like the beginning of what like a hustle meant for me. Like, I think door-to-door sales is like a great way to start like learning about what it takes to grow a business. Like that's at the end of the day. It's like you got to go get customers, you got to go find opportunities, and like you got to be okay talking to customers and like hearing no and all of that. And so I think for me it was just yeah, it was like the beginnings of how you know important it is to stay close to a customer. And I like vividly remember being in the laser tag place and talking to the owner and just like God, I was so uncomfortable. But it was so formative. And I think it just again, I always I always feel like that girl in many ways. Like I always feel like I'm like never above that. And I think that's like an important way to think about running and growing a company.
You know, going back to your time at Cornell, joining student agencies, I'm actually curious, how did you hear about student agencies and what was the process kind of, first stepping into student agencies? And, at least for me, when I joined, I was like, oh, this is very real. Like, I'm 19 years old.
Yeah.
Like this is the real world,
What
right?
is
Like,
this? Yeah.
what is this, right? Can you kind of walk us through what that process is kind of like? And, when did you realize that this wasn't just another, club or another activity, that,
Yeah.
it was something special?
Yeah. I was sitting in an AIM class which I was a human development major. So like, I don't even know how I found myself in this AIM class. And someone, probably the president, came and like pitched that they're looking for people to come run these businesses. And all the businesses, like Campus Promotions was the one I was like, oh, I know how to, like, I could do that. I could apply for that. That sounds good. I'm interested in business. Again, like they were words. I wasn't totally sure what I was signing up for. Went down, applied, met the guy that was currently running Campus Promotions. We hit it off. And then like, I think I remember him like sending me an email, or was it an email? I don't know, phone call at the time. And he was like, come down. There's some news. And like, it almost was, I remember he like didn't tell me I got the job, but like, I was like just there. It was my first day or something where it was like, okay, here we are. But yes, I also felt the same, like this is real. And like, people are relying on me and there's, revenue to be had. So definitely had the same experience.
What were some of those customer interactions? You mentioned like feeling uncomfortable, not being above, continuing to do that. Like, so as you progressed, to be CEO of Sawyer and, managing growth and innovation at Rent the Runway, which, I think everybody's heard of, were there tools or lessons from that experience doing sales, being uncomfortable, that you continue to apply in each of your roles?
Yes, like unequivocally. Like I was listening to a customer call the other day, and actually now like having an Instagram conversation with one of our customers at my company now. Like I think that's where the magic happens. Like when you're talking to the customer, you can get a sense, or I feel like I get a sense of what they want, how to help them, like they're real people. And to me, that it helps me like bring to life what I'm doing and like brings to life the products I'm building. At RTR, we used to train people by everyone at the company had to do like a day or two every quarter or something on the phones on customer support. And I remember listening and I remember just thinking about how impactful it was. Customer after customer would say, you don't understand, like I'm unique. And I just like that has stayed with me so much, right? Like I take that to Sawyer, like every customer feels unique. Like, how do we make sure that like that the essence of that is not lost? Even though we're servicing thousands of people. And so, yeah, I love talking to our customers and I love getting ideas from them. And I think that's where, if you're having a bad day or you just like, you feel, uninspired, go back to the customer.
Yeah, great advice. And when you have those interactions with customers and someone says, and repeatedly, dozens or hundreds of people are saying, I'm unique, I'm special. And in the back of your mind, you're probably thinking, yeah, but you probably fall into one of these 3 buckets, right? Or one of these 4 buckets. And I know what the talk track is after this. Did that sort of like, did you notice that became a muscle that you would then apply
Yeah,
in the subsequent places? It's like, okay, so what are the personas that we're going for here?
for sure. For sure. And I think like also just having that like deep empathy that our customers feel unique and they feel special. So how do we just make sure the products we're building are appropriate for that and don't necessarily make you feel like you're falling into a box? Or how do we share with you that like, you know what? A bunch of other people price the class this way. You're doing it correct. You're doing it right. And like just giving them that guidance and security that like, yeah, they may feel unique, but guess what? Like you're not, and that's okay. So yeah, trying to use it to, help them ultimately do what they need to do.
Right.
I'm curious if you have more stories from, talk a little bit about laser tag and feeling uncomfortable. Looking back, now in so many years, do you have other stories that really kind of jump out and like, wow, like what was I doing?
I
Or yeah.
remember because it was 2005, I remember we were like just starting to build our website at student agencies and Campus Promotions, probably got a page or two. And I remember like working with the designers and I remember being like, I think this has to like look really good. Like this seems important. And it just makes me laugh now because it was like not obvious. And again, like we printed we had a dining guide that was like a print coupon book. We had a Greek directory, which was a literal Facebook of people, sororities and fraternities where we sell ads against. And then what did we have? We had one other thing and I don't remember what it was, but those are like the 2 big revenue, money makers. Oh, we'd do postering. We'd poster up across the campus. So we'd like you wanted to advertise about something and I'd go and like put up flyers. And yeah, I just remember thinking like this website thing seems like important and like we should probably like make it nice. And I remember sitting with a designer and he's like trying to futz with it. Um, but yeah, it's like the beginning of all this web stuff that we do now.
Yeah. In today's market that's pivoting to AI, um, how do you think any of these lessons change, if at all? The learning to relate to customers, the potential to be unique or not unique. Like, does anything change about that picture, or are the fundamentals still just the fundamentals?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I mean, you know, I think that look, I mean, I'd hope that all these tools that help us advance and like move quicker and be more thoughtful. But I do wonder how, I often tell my teams like I gotta like they'll design something for me and I need to like test it. I need to like feel it. I need like the flavor for it. Like I experience if something is good through using it. And so it's kind of the same when I listen and talk to customers. Like I like to like be in the room and listen and hear how their voice changes. And so I don't know. I don't know if AI will take that away or help us, get more of that. It's going to be fun and interesting, I guess, to see.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's still going to be human beings paying on the other end of things, unless
Right?
the
You
AIs
got
have
it.
their
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
cash at some point, which who
Hope
knows,
so.
that might happen.
Right.
So tell us something about your current position at DaySmart, and like what are you guys working on? What are the problems that you're looking at? How do you looking to grow the company? What's going on there?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's well, it's still, I oversee Sawyer and then two other brands that are very similar to Sawyer, but in different industries. And so we still, we build software for small businesses across the country and the world to try to make, end users' lives easier. It's always about, yeah, like staying innovative, staying fresh, making sure the product experiences are excellent, best in class. And yeah, I think this AI revolution is fascinating because we're watching technology and our workflows change so quickly as we're working. And so yeah, being open to trying new things and kind of embracing all of this is definitely top of mind and a challenge that I know my team is facing and all of, everyone feels like we're all facing. And same for the customer, right? So I've had calls with our customers that are like, how should we think about all of this? Like what's right for our brand and our business? And so I think we're all learning together.
Yeah, definitely, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. It's only going to
No,
get
right.
more accelerated.
I know. It's crazy.
Will,
Do you
you
guys
have any
remember
other
that? Do you guys
questions?
remember the I think I was talking to my colleague about this morning, like with Netflix when there was like the red box and you'd like drop off the DVD and then streaming came and it was like, what? And there's a part of
People
me that
forget
thinks
that it was
people
mail
forget.
order.
That's what I mean. And like I kind of feel like we're in that moment again where like or like how on the airplanes, I remember I consulted at one point when Delta Airlines was a client, and I remember them like really investing in putting like screens on the seats. And I remember thinking, like, everyone's gonna have an iPad. Like, why are we doing this? This is so silly. But it takes progress, takes incremental steps. And I think, yeah, a lot of the world, like we're just watching that like red box to streaming transition happen. So gotta be aware.
Yeah, I mean, I just was getting on flights recently that had like the free fast Wi-Fi via Starlink,
Right.
and now you can just access all of your own
Right.
content.
And
The
you're like,
airline
oh,
doesn't have to. Yeah, I was like, wow, this is a big step.
taking long enough. But yeah.
Exactly. Any other questions, Willie, for Marissa?
Yeah. I guess to kind of conclude, zooming out, taking a step back, looking throughout your entire career trajectory from, Cornell, SAI, Harvard Business School, and all these startups and businesses. What's one lesson that still kind of tests you today that you learned from student agencies, and one that you have to remind yourself constantly as a leader?
I'm sorry, that said test me.
Yeah, like test like that still tests you. One lesson that still tests you.
Yeah. Gosh, I think like, look, growing a business is really hard. I think scaling a business is really hard. Constantly just trying to balance the customer's needs, your company's needs, your team's needs. Like kind of always keeping those things top of mind and like trying to make decisions that ultimately service the right constituent at the right time. Like that is, it's not lost on me. It's still something I deal and struggle with.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
Marissa, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us here on the Student Agencies podcast. We wish you all the best. And if you want any Cornell students or SAI students to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Oh, love that. On LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, and I can send you my LinkedIn.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks so
Thanks
much,
so
guys, for
much.
having me. All right.